There's a reason Roman soldiers would rather face 1,000 enemy warriors than a single war elephant. You're standing in formation when the ground starts shaking. An 8,000-pound monster with tusks like spears is charging straight at you, its trunk capable of snapping your spine in half. It's already trampled your friends into the mud, and now it's coming for you. This is how war elephants nearly destroyed the Roman Empire. I'll reveal the secret weapon that made horses flee in terror, the one elephant that became legendary, and why these unstoppable killing machines suddenly vanished from history forever.
The year is 218 BC. A young Carthaginian general named Hannibal is about to do the impossible. Cross the Alps with an army that includes 37 African war elephants.
Let's go back to the beginning. How do you turn a gentle giant into a weapon of mass destruction? It started in ancient India around 1100 BC. Indian mahouts discovered that elephants could be trained not just to carry loads, but to fight. And when I say fight, I mean these animals were taught specific combat techniques. They learned to use their tusks like spears, driving them through enemy shields and armor. They were trained to grab soldiers with their trunks and slam them against the ground. Some were even fitted with metal caps on their tusks, turning them into living battering rams. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Carthaginians, Rome's greatest enemies, didn't just use any elephants. They used North African forest elephants, a now extinct subspecies that was smaller than modern African elephants, but perfectly sized for war. These weren't circus elephants, people. These were 8,000-pound killing machines with one purpose: to terrorize and destroy Roman armies. And they were incredibly good at it. The Romans had never seen anything like them. Imagine being a foot soldier, trained to fight other men with swords and spears, and suddenly facing a creature that could step on you and not even notice. The psychological warfare was as devastating as the physical damage. But if you think that's impressive, wait until you hear about Hannibal's most audacious plan and the elephant that would become a legend.
218 BC. Hannibal Barca stands at the edge of the known world, staring up at the snow-capped Alps. Behind him, 90,000 soldiers, 12,000 cavalry, and 37 war elephants. Ahead of him, certain death. Everyone told him it was impossible. You can't march elephants through mountain passes covered in ice and snow. These are African animals. But Hannibal had a secret. He knew something about elephant psychology that would save his entire campaign. Elephants have incredible memories and form deep emotional bonds with their handlers. Each of his war elephants had been paired with a mahout, a trainer, since birth. These weren't just riders, they were partners, family. So when Hannibal's elephants faced howling mountain winds, treacherous ice bridges, and attacking Celtic tribes, they didn't panic. They trusted their mahouts completely. But the journey was a nightmare. Avalanches buried entire sections of the army. Celtic warriors rolled boulders down on them. The cold was so brutal that men's fingers froze to their weapons. And the elephants? They suffered the most. These African giants had never seen snow. Their feet, designed for soft earth and sand, cracked and bled on the jagged rocks. One by one, they began to fall. Historical records tell us that only one elephant made it to Italy alive. Her name was Surus, meaning the Syrian, and she was Hannibal's personal war elephant. She would become the most famous elephant in military history. But here's the truly incredible part. Even with just one elephant, Hannibal was about to achieve something no one thought possible.
Now I'm going to tell you about the secret weapon I mentioned earlier. The thing that made war elephants absolutely terrifying to Roman soldiers. It wasn't their size, it wasn't their tusks, it wasn't even their ability to crush formations. It was their smell. Stay with me here because this is fascinating. Roman war horses had never encountered elephants before. And there's something about elephants' scent. Maybe it's their diet, maybe it's pheromones, but it drives horses absolutely insane with terror. When elephants charged Roman cavalry, the horses wouldn't just retreat. They would buck, rear, throw their riders, and flee in blind panic. Entire cavalry units became useless in seconds. This gave Hannibal an incredible advantage. At the Battle of Trebia in 218 BC, just months after crossing the Alps, Surus and Hannibal's recovered elephant corps smashed through Roman lines like they were made of paper. But the Romans learned something important that day. They discovered that elephants, despite being nearly indestructible, had one critical weakness: panic. You see, elephants are incredibly intelligent and emotional animals. When they're calm and with trusted handlers, they're unstoppable. But if something spooks them, if their mahout falls, if they're wounded, if they hear certain sounds, they don't just retreat, they rampage. And when a panicked war elephant rampages, it doesn't distinguish between friend and enemy. It becomes an 8,000-pound wrecking ball that destroys everything in its path, including its own army. The Romans figured out how to exploit this. They developed specific tactics, weapons, and even sounds designed to terrify elephants and turn them against their own forces. And that discovery would change everything. The Romans were nothing if not adaptable. After facing elephants in battle, they went back to the drawing board and basically invented anti-elephant warfare. First, they trained their horses to tolerate elephant scent by exposing them to elephant hide and dung. Genius, right? Second, they developed specialized weapons, fire arrows, long spears and small catapults designed specifically to wound and panic elephants. But their most brilliant tactic was psychological warfare against the mahouts. Roman archers were instructed to target the elephant drivers first. Without their mahouts, elephants became confused and dangerous to everyone. The Romans literally turned the elephant's greatest strength, their bond with their handlers, into a weakness. They also discovered that certain sounds could trigger elephant panic responses. Roman soldiers would clash weapons against shields in specific rhythms, blow horns at particular frequencies, and even use squealing pigs. Yes, pigs, because the sound apparently terrified elephants. By 202 BC, at the Battle of Zama, the Romans had become so good at anti-elephant tactics that Hannibal's elephants actually charged backward into his own army, trampling Carthaginian soldiers. It was over. The age of war elephants was ending, and the Romans had figured out exactly how to defeat them. But there's one more twist to this story that most people never hear about. After defeating Carthage, you might expect the Romans to ban war elephants entirely. But they didn't. They adopted them. Roman generals began importing elephants from India and Africa for their own armies. They used them in conquests across Europe and the Middle East. For nearly 200 years, Roman war elephants struck fear into Germanic tribes, Gallic warriors, and British Celts. But then something changed. By 400 AD, war elephants had vanished from Roman armies completely. Why? The answer reveals something profound about both warfare and civilization. As Roman military tactics became more sophisticated, better cavalry, improved siege weapons, more disciplined infantry formations, elephants became obsolete. They were too expensive to maintain, too unpredictable in battle, and too vulnerable to the new weapons and tactics spreading across Europe. The last recorded use of war elephants in European warfare was by a Byzantine general in 1332. After that, these magnificent creatures disappeared from battlefields forever. Think about that. For over 1,500 years, elephants were the ultimate military technology. Kings and generals built entire strategies around them. Soldiers had nightmares about them. And then they were just gone. It reminds us that no matter how powerful, how intimidating, how seemingly invincible something appears, everything can be overcome by human ingenuity and adaptation.
The next time you see an elephant at a zoo or in a documentary, remember that their ancestors once decided the fate of empires. These gentle giants carry the DNA of warriors that made Roman legions tremble. War elephants remind us that history is full of incredible stories hiding in plain sight. Military innovations that seemed impossible, tactical genius that changed the world, and the eternal human drive to overcome any obstacle, no matter how massive. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, you're going to love our deep dive into other ancient military innovations that seemed impossible, like Greek fire, Damascus steel, and the Roman war machines that conquered the known world. Hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss these incredible historical adventures. Until next time, keep exploring the amazing stories that shaped our world.